Are you a non-confrontational person? Do you value social harmony? Do you find yourself sort of like being passive in a society where confidence, assertiveness, and qualities like that are valued over introversion and over social harmony? Do you find yourself just kind of avoiding conflict, not wanting to take sides? You just want to be in your own chill space. You just want to be mellow and just want everybody to get along. And then sometimes that means it's okay to sacrifice your opinions and just not deal with the negativity that might ensue. If that's the case, you are a panda. So hey guys, this is Kim. Welcome back to Fable Stan, and in this video I want to talk about the panda archetype and also what is a panda mode in a social situation. So recently I've been contemplating about using animal archetypes to work with yourself in social situations. So of course, animal archetypes, you can use them or connect with them and work with them for different situations, different purposes. But I find that it's kind of like a cool thing. Like, it's really useful if you pick an animal archetype that you can identify with and then kind of just use that to navigate your personality, use that to navigate social situations, and use that to understand yourself better and work with yourself better. So why am I talking about the panda? Because first of all, I'm a total panda when it comes to people. I value social harmony. I don't like fighting. I don't like confrontations. I just hate taking a side. Like, if two people are having a fight or they're having some kind of conflict and they're asking me to take a stand or asking me to intervene, I'd rather not, because it's kind of like it's impossible for me to understand who's right and who's wrong, and I can't take a side like that, and I can't seem to, it's like, it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you say, it's like you're entitled to your perspective and I can listen to it, but I don't know if it's my right to make the judgment call to really understand, like, to really make a judgment call on who's right and who's wrong. Because I've often, when it comes to conflicts like this, I feel like everybody has a responsibility on their part. It's not about right and wrong, it's about how can we work together and get better results and also find a way to cooperate with each other, that kind of thing. So I hate taking sides, I hate confrontations, and I hate getting into arguments with people. I just don't have the energy, and even when people are stepping on my boundaries, I would just, right now, this is a hard lesson learned. Before, I would just not care and just have everything pent up, and until one day I'd explode and then just like curl up into a ball of heartache, that kind of thing. So that's in the past. But right now I feel like if I'm never going to see you again, if we don't hang out that much, if we're not going to interact much anyway, if there's no way that you're going to continue to affect my life, I'm just going to let it go. Like, I'm not going to spend energy like trying to defend myself or trying to take a stand or trying to like prove that person wrong, just because honestly, I don't have the energy for that. I know some people, they can come up with really snarky replies, they could really articulate their perspective and then put that person in place, but it's really not me, For me, it's actually draining to do that. Like, it takes so much energy to stand my ground. So for me, if it's, if it's something that's just gonna happen one time, if I'm never gonna see that person again, I'm just gonna not care. It's just not worth the investment in energy. However, if it's an important relationship that I have, if I value my time with the person, if I want to make sure that I communicate with my boundaries clearly, then that's a different story. I would definitely stand up for myself in that regard. I would definitely communicate. I would definitely say what's on my mind in my own way. And yeah, so you may be wondering, why am I telling you this and what does this have to do with a panda? So, like I said before, a panda archetype, panda is totally non-confrontational, and I want to talk about the panda archetype just because I feel like in Western society, like in North America, it's such an imperative for you to be confident, for you to be assertive, for you to be, super expressive, and to communicate your boundaries clearly. You have to be that strong, independent person and whatever. I'm not saying like those are bad things, because those are definitely qualities that I strive to cultivate more of. Not in the way that I don't think I'm enough, it's just like I feel like in certain situations when I need to step up, it's something that I need to really put myself in the zone so I could do those things. Because, some people are just naturally non-confrontational like me. And I feel like having this sort of mindset of like you need to be always confident and assertive, I think there's a sort of misguided way of being that I think maybe a lot of us, like for us like introverts and someone who's more chill when it comes to social interactions, I think it has this invisible pressure when it comes to like standing up for yourself. And then I think not standing up for yourself is almost always taken in a negative light. And I think it really depends on the situation, right? I think you should communicate your boundaries when you need to. But it's just like there's situations where, like I was saying, it's actually a bad thing for people like us to get involved with that person in that way. And if it's just a one-time thing, if it's just like, say, somebody offends you this one time, someone's fighting with you, picking up a fight, and it's like, if you know you're never gonna deal with that person again, it's just not worth the investment, right? It's like, I think being an introvert and being a complete and total panda, pandas are stereotypically very lazy. I think that's for good reason, because energetically, or our social points, if you imagine this as a video game, our SP meter, social points, right? You have your HP, health points, you have your MP, which is your magic points, you have your SP, social points. My social meter, my social point is just naturally low. It needs a long recharge time, it needs a long cooldown, and I just don't have enough energy to deal with certain things. And I think it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could just be like, I'm choosing to invest my energy and heart and time wisely. And I know there are situations where I don't have to stand up for myself, because if I do, it's just gonna be so freaking exhausting, and it's actually not good for me. So I think there's that. I feel like if you're a panda, if you're someone like me, and if you feel pressure to always communicate your standard, always communicate your boundaries, I think there are definitely moments where you have to do that. In that case, don't compromise at all. Like, speak your mind, like, speak up or suck up in those situations. But you don't have to do that all the time, And sometimes it's also about like just taking a different approach or having a different perspective, because sometimes you don't really need to engage social conflicts or interactions in a very polarized way. It's like someone has to lose or someone has to win. It could just be like, yeah, we decide that we're both tired, let's not talk about it anymore, and let's just try to make up, let's maintain the peace or whatever. Like, I feel like there's just different scenarios and solutions when it comes to social situations. You don't really need to be assertive and confident all the time. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't strive to be more confident, but I'm just saying that you don't need to display assertiveness for the sake of being assertive. You do that when you need to be assertive, right? But you don't have to do that just to show people that you can't do it, or you got it in you, or you are not like a doormat and you are not to be bullied or something like that. Because I definitely went through something like that where I was just like constantly looking for battles to fight. I was just like, I want to prove myself, or I want to prove to others that I am capable of standing up for myself, because I've been taking shit from people for so long, and I'm just gonna prove people wrong. But I found myself it's just exhausting being in that combative zone, and I think it's just better to be a panda, to know where my boundaries are, to know what I'm okay and not okay with, to know when I need to stand up for myself and when to just, okay, whatever, I don't care. You can let's just keep the peace. Really, I don't need to waste so much energy over this. Not good for me, it's not good for you. So yeah, and sometimes that's the best solution, Sometimes you don't need to, like I said, be in a really polarized zone. You don't have to like be in this attack mode or defend mode. You could just be like, I see what you're saying, I think this way, and are there any other options? Are there other ways of interacting with each other that doesn't really require this like dynamic, right? Or just like require this like, oh, this is my space dynamic. Sometimes it's not really necessary. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. It's like, if you're a panda, if you're struggling to be more than a panda or less than a panda, if you're struggling to not be a panda, I'm just saying that you don't have to beat yourself up for not being assertive enough, not being confident enough, because sometimes like, it's just your personality, right? You're just, some people, like me included, like sometimes it's just that we're non-confrontational people. We don't like to take a stand because confrontation takes so much energy, and it's just not worth our spirit to actually channel all of that into that black hole, because our energy drains so much quicker than other people who are more naturally expressive, right? So I feel like you don't have to see that as a flaw. You don't have to feel ashamed about being a panda. I think being a panda has its quirks, you know, like you're just naturally more peaceful, you're better at taking social pressure, you're better at kind of just being at a place where you're not really affected by people pushing against your boundaries. I mean, I'm not talking about like just passively taking shit until you can't take it anymore. That's a different thing, but I think when you're just in that zone where it's kind of like, you know, tai chi, right? Panda is also associated with tai chi. When you're just in that space of flow, when you're just like, someone pushes against you, you're just like, oh, okay, slides right off your shoulder. Or when someone tries to be in your face, you're just like, ow, I cracked my neck. And then it just slides right off. So I think there's nothing wrong about being a panda or evoking the panda archetype in social situations or just being a panda person. And okay, so here's the most important part. I have sort of come to terms with me being a panda. I used to blame myself a lot for not being assertive enough, for not being like independent and strong and expressive and eloquent when it comes to moments where I really need to do that, right? I've made my peace with them, just like, honestly, I'm a panda. I don't like confrontations. That's just me. I don't have to force myself to be someone I'm not, to prove that I'm confident or that I can defend myself. I don't have to do that. But when I need to defend myself, if you think about pandas are really cute, they're really adorable, they're not really aggressive. You know, it seems like they're kind of weak. But when you need to defend yourself, here's the panda archetype you can evoke. Instead of the panda, you transform into the kung fu panda. Because you're adorable, you're quirky, you can kick ass in your own way. So that's why you can call on the Kung Fu Panda archetype. And that's what I tell myself, is like when I need to be badass, when I need to tell people off, when I need to defend my boundaries, when I need to communicate that, I'm Kung Fu Panda. And I'm still a panda though. But I can be a Kung Fu Panda when I need to. So yeah, that's just want to make a video to let you panda folks out there to know that it's okay to be a panda. You don't have to be confrontational. Even if you're not, it doesn't mean that you're not confident, you're not assertive, or you're not loving yourself enough to take that stance or whatever. Just everyone's personality is different. You can navigate your personality in a different way. If you're like me and you're like a total panda, be proud of being a panda, because there's lots of quirks about being a panda too that comes with being a panda, and when you need to be a Kung Fu Panda. Speaking of pandas, and since we're on the topic of animals, I'm currently sort of doing a thing where I'm asking people to submit stories about or approaches or just kind of stories and experiences with using tarot cards on pets, or doing pet readings or animal readings. So this could be like your dog, your cat, your horse, your squirrel, can you keep squirrels as a pet? Your hamster, your hedgehog, your lizard, or something. Like, what's your experiences with reading cards for them? And do you interpret the archetypes differently? Do you have interesting stories? Do you, for example, like, what does Ace of Pentacles means when you pull it for your dog? Does it mean that it's kind of them registering that it's feeding time because Ace of Pentacles is kind of like a bowl of food? I don't know. So I just thought it's such an underexplored topic about how you can use tarot cards for understanding animals. And yeah, so you got an interesting story, you have like interesting approaches and thoughts and perspectives on that. Make sure, right now, I need to come up with a blog post for that, but I have a list of interview questions actually. I have a Q&A ready, so if you're interested in partaking in that, send me an email at fablestan@gmail.com. I'll send you that Q&A, or maybe by the time I post this video, I'll have the blog post ready, so it's also accessible via the blog post. But either way, you'll find the links and information down below if you want to participate in that. And yeah, I think that's it. So until next time, keep calm and panda on.